up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Sid. I am back with another video. Today I want to get straight into it, and I'm going to be talking about inspiration paralysis. Yesterday I was scrolling on TikTok and Instagram, then I got caught up in somebody else's YouTube page, and I just ended up watching their video, right? And in that process of watching that video, I was so inspired. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is so... And it wasn't even like an inspiring video per se. Like it was just watching them in their element, doing what God called them to do, and just watching them, if God called... Look, that was my assumption. Let me back that up. Doing what they were perceivably good at. I would say that. How about that? And just operating in their lane, I'll say. But I was so inspired by that, and it just made me want to hit the ground running. But also, it made me stuck in my own head. Like, Lord, what can I do to get to that point? What can I do to speed up this process almost? It went from inspiration to comparison to me doing absolutely nothing. Literally yesterday, my plan was to get on here. Y'all, it's 9. Where is my phone? I think my phone's over there. Anyway, it's like 9:30 in the morning, and I got up early enough, 7-ish, right after my fiance left out the house, and my son was still sleeping. So I was like, let me get up. This is the perfect time to get on here and record a video. But yesterday I was going to record a little sooner, but I just ended up in my head. So I ended up binge watching the TV show. I ended up just drowning myself, or trying to drown out the thoughts that I was having of what am I supposed to do. Eventually I snapped out of that funk, and I went to the lake. Me and my son went to the lake yesterday. And while I was at the lake, I kind of exercised a little bit, did a little squats, running around, just trying to get my body moving. Honestly, nothing particular that I was doing, but I was moving my body and getting my mind off of everything that I had set in the beginning of that day. And as I was at the lake, the Lord began to download different things to me while I was at the lake. And it was just so refreshing for God to do that, because to stay in your lane, that's basically just what I wanted to say. Like, stay in your lane. It is okay to get inspiration, and it's okay to be inspired. Inspiration is almost like Elizabeth and Mary when their babies were leaping. When Elizabeth was so elated by the gifts that was down inside of Mary, that it made her baby or her gift jump in the same token. So some of those instances, we can abuse our Elizabeth and Mary moments, where it's supposed to spark something good in us, but it ends up being something that we use to compare where we are to where someone else is. We don't know their journey. Half the time we don't want to be on their journey because we don't know what they went through to get there. Also, in realizing that with more attention comes more attention, and that could be attention, good, both good and bad. And you have to remember, when your influence grows, so do spectators, so do naysayers, so do other things, and you have to be prepared for that. You have to be mentally prepared for that. And I'm speaking solely to myself. But I just wanted to touch on that because it is so important for us to remain focused on what God wants to do in my life. So I went back and I revisited my goals, rewrote out some things that I do desire to accomplish, but in the same token, what steps am I taking to get there? Because if I'm allowing inspiration to paralyze me, what good is it? Or what good is the inspiration if I'm allowing it to hinder what God is trying to do on the inside of me? What God is doing in other people is beautiful, and you don't want to mistake or you don't want to get envious or jealous of that. But just know, if God did it for them, He could do it for you as well. If He provided a way for them, He can do the same thing for you. And I had to remind myself of that when God opens up lanes for me, to be prepared and not expect it to look like anybody else's. God gives us specific gifts and specific things, giftings and blessings that are catered to our lives, that are tailored to, that fits us, tailor fit, custom made, fits just right in every different spot, but it's not going to look like everyone else's. And that kind of ties into relationships, finances, whatever it is that's in your life. It's not going to look like everyone else's. Yesterday evening, we were on a, I was on a premarital Zoom with our pastors, and I'm trying to convince my fiance to join me, which is so important. But I do want to share this out of vulnerability, because yesterday, almost in that same sense, I was so frustrated. I went to bed so frustrated because I'm like, Lord, all of these couples are on here together, and my pastor was like, it's best if you guys do this together. But it's taking me a little convincing to get my fiance to join, and I went to bed so upset because I was comparing where the other couples were to where I am in my current relationship, which is not saying that we're not in a bad place, we're not in a bad space. It's just, it takes agreement when you're walking together or trying to journey your lives or bring two people together as one. It takes agreement, it takes disagreement, it takes, a whole lot of different things. So I went to bed so defeated and so upset, and almost in comparison, because like I said, I'm on this premarital group as a singular without my fiance, and I was just like, Lord, like I was just so frustrated. I went to bed upset, like I was just trying to get my mind together. But God just reminded me again that your relationship is custom fit to you. It's not going to look like everyone else's. It's not going to be like everyone else's. Some things are going to look different, and God gives us these guidelines for marriage and these guidelines for courting. But we also have to remember that take each of what God has given you back to Him, and not try to compare it to someone else's, or even allow, Holy Spirit, help me with this. Allow what you see in media, allow what you see in churches, allow to dictate how your relationship is supposed to go, if that makes sense. Keeping it before God, allowing Him to lead you. That's my bottom line. Not to not listen to your pastor, not to listen to guidance or directions or instructions from others who have been in the game longer than you have, or who have walked this marriage thing out. That's not what I'm saying. But also in that, taking it with a grain of salt, but also taking words that you've received from other people back to the Father to make sure it is it is accustomed to you and your life, if that makes sense. I don't know why I wanted to share that, or why that even came up. I guess God wants me to continue to be vulnerable and share that life is not glitz and glam all the time. And I know we say that and it sounds a little cliche, but we come on here, or a lot of us can come on here and just show the good of our lives, or show like the highlights, when things are going great and this and the third. Like I said, things are fine. It's not that we're dealing with anything. It's just those small agreements in the coming together. Like that process in itself can be a lot. But if the other person doesn't know either, it also takes communication and sharing that emotion or sharing those feelings with your other partner, just to let them know where you are and where you desire us to be. Like my desire is to live the God-intended life, and in that means we have to give up a lot of things. We have to sacrifice some things, but also I want to do marriage God's way. Like I want to have Him at the center. I want Him to be the center of our relationship and of our lives, so that we are able to thrive due to Him, like that He may get the glory out of all situations in our lives, and that we don't point the finger back to ourselves like, look what I did, look what I did, look what I made, look what I made. What's that TikTok? Look what I made. But to point all glory back to Him. Like that is the bottom line. That's the baseline. And that also led me to one more thing. I know I'm a little country. I'm a little all over the place, but I did want to share this one tidbit with you guys. To Josiah, you may give me 1 second and I will be with you. Y'all, I thought I was doing something. I got up early, like I said, and my son was still sleeping. I was like, let me get on camera real quick before he wakes up. Like, I'm doing good. I got my paycheck today. I budgeted out my paycheck, divvied up every dollar to where it needs to go. As soon as I pull out the camera, he rolls up the bed. Hey, mommy. So here we are. So I'm going to finish this up. I'm just going to be a quick video. And I just wanted to share this, what the Lord had spoke to me the other day. I think this is about, this was 3 days ago. But this was just something that He really convicted me on, but I thought it was really good to share because we can get so caught up in what we do for ourselves and what we do in this life and think that it doesn't have an equal reaction to those that come behind us. And it says it's naive to think that what you do in this life doesn't matter, because either your faithfulness or your sinfulness will affect the generations to come. The God of Isaac, Jacob, and Abraham God blessed this lineage. The same can hold true for generational curses. And I said it ends with me. We can inherit wars from past generations, even things that we didn't even have anything to do with. We can inherit those things, and that dates all the way back to Adam and Eve. We have been cursed, or were cursed from the beginning, due to the lack of faithfulness of two people who began this whole generation. And thank God for Jesus, who, broke the curse and redeemed us all. But I just wanted to say that like I said, it's naive to think that what we do, the sins of this current life that we're living, that won't affect our children. And I said it ends with me, because we're not going to be perfect. God does not demand perfection, but he always asks for your surrender. Surrender your will for his, surrender your ways for his, and give your life over to him, so that you will become sinless. So you will sin less, and so that you won't cause these curses to trickle down, of these things that are in your bloodline. What was the pastor? Oh, I cannot figure his name. I see his name. Oh my goodness. But anyway, he was a guest pastor at Mike Todd's church this past Sunday, and he talked about two different snakes, two different serpents. There's a viper, and it kills by bloodstream. When this poison gets into your bloodstream, it can kill you. And he said the bloodstream equates to the bloodline. So when this serpent, the serpent equates to the enemy and the adversary. When he attacks your bloodline, it can trickle down through the generations. But the python is the strongholds. It's those different type of strongholds that are on your life that won't seem to let up. It just doesn't make sense. Like when he said the bloodline, like my dad went through this, my granddad, my great granddad, all of that stuff begins to trickle down. But you have to say it ends with me. It ends with me. You have to acknowledge the fact that this is what has taken place down my bloodline. I acknowledge that this marriage has not always been the best in my family. I acknowledge that not all the women in my family are married. I acknowledge that whatever the case may be in your bloodline. And then you said that mess ends with me. It will not trickle down. Debt will not trickle down to my children. Frivolous spending will not trickle down to my children. Like, you just have to take hold of what has taken hold of your family, and be the one to say that I'm going to stand up to this thing and not allow it to touch my children or my children's children. That I will pass down generational blessings, that I will pass down generational wealth, that I will pass down generational knowledge for my children, and not lead this life selfishly thinking of just self, and not realizing that what I do in this life affects the next generations. The things that I don't do will affect the next generation. And for me, it has been like a self-discipline and just a recentering and a thing to get your mind off of self, because sometimes we can think so much of self and like I really, really need this. I need this right now. But if you stop to think about, will this affect my children? Not even like your children now. Like, I can think about Josiah, but then I can start thinking about Josiah's kids, and then Josiah's kids, and and it just keeps going. So it gets your thought process off of you, and it refocuses to the larger picture. I don't know why I went there, but anyway, y'all, sometimes I get on here and I'm like, all right, I'm going to talk about this thing, but then other things begin to flow. Like I said, this video was going to be really, really quick because my son decided to wake up, and I try not to record when he is just waking up and active, or if he's just got home from school, because I know he's gonna really, really want my attention, and I'm not gonna battle. I'm not gonna battle with him in the camera because the whole time I'm like, Josiah, Josiah. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for today. I thank you guys so much for tuning in to my videos. Also, I just want to thank everyone who has subscribed, liked, shared, whatever the case may be. Thank you for my new subscribers. Make yourself known in the comments. I had a few new ones, I think, the last time I checked. So welcome to the kingdom. And me sharing my life, being vulnerable, being as honest as I can possibly be. But yeah, just welcome. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video, and I will catch you guys next video. Bye.